Here we have the Buchi I300 Pro touchscreen digital interface from Buchi. Currently this is situated on top of the Buchi V300 vacuum pump. However, it can also be mounted on top of the R300 rotary evaporator. It's a very simple, very nicely designed control interface. Very easy to see. When it is not operating, we have a white background. When it is operating, we have a black background. So immediately from across the lab, you can see if the pump is activating or if it is not. Because it is touchscreen, we can select a range of different menus at the top. Here we have our home screen, which controls everything, and we can see everything up front. We have a favorites menu. In this case, we have a leak test. For solvents or for programs that will run routinely, these will come up on the screen here. We can simply touch them and it goes through to that particular test. Our notepad at the top here comes into our different operation modes. Manual if we just want to set a vacuum and achieve a certain vacuum. We can go to timer if we want to run that vacuum for a set time. Pump continuously if you just want to dry off, if you just want maximum pumping ability. On the V300 it is 5 millibar plus or minus 2. It will run and it will simply dry your product. Auto Dest is a new feature from Buchi which integrates sensors on the incoming and outgoing cooling water connected to your vertical condenser. It also connects to your heating bath. When Auto Dest is activated, it calculates the temperature difference between the ingoing and outgoing cooling lines as well as the bath temperature so that you can start immediately your distillation rather than waiting for cooling temperatures to decrease and your bath to heat. This saves time in the lab and gets your distillation done ahead of time. There is a new drying function on the Buchi i300 Pro system as well. This is particularly good for powders, for example pharmaceutical products. When you're using a baffled flask, you do get product build-up on the inside of your evaporation flask. Using the drying function on the Buchi i300 Pro, it alternates the rotation clockwise and anti-clockwise at set intervals here. In this instance we have 10 seconds, we can change that as much as we want. So for 50 I'll put here for example and we hit save. That loads in here. We can also run it under a timer function as well. So if we have an estimate of how long our product is going to take to dry, in this instance we're going to run it for 10 minutes and at 50-second intervals it will change rotation from clockwise to anti-clockwise. A fantastic function for eliminating any additional moisture which may be built up in your product. The final table that we have on our screen here is methods. Here lists a number of methods that we have in our Buchi i300 Pro controller. We can remove, we can add a new method, or we can edit previously restored methods on the system. If we're to go new, it comes up, we can enter our method name. If we click on here, we can dial in and we can name it. So there is a QWERTZ keypad on here. We can dial it by simply as a batch number if you're working in a pharmaceutical or nutraceutical industry, or food and feed, or we can also give it particular names according to the sample reference. Once we have put our method in, for example, let's put BEN, because that's my name, we hit save and it will save that as Ben. We then scroll down to the number of steps. How are we going to do this? We click on here and we can edit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. on how many steps. For example, we want 3, hit save. We can also use the touch screen. So we can touch in here and use our turn knob to the number of steps that we desire. Step 1, we can start with our function. What are we doing? Is it a gradient? Is it a pause step? Is it simply just a drying step? We want to select a gradient and we want to hit save. The gradient then opens up a new menu. Vacuum start. Where are we starting our distillation? Where are we going to on this particular step? How long are we doing this over? What rotation do we want on our R300? What is our heating bath temperature and our chiller temperature? This allows us to control all of these different items that are built into the Buchi R300 or V300 i300 package. It is fantastic control over your entire system, so no longer do you need to reach under the bench for your chiller, reach to your water bath. Everything is controlled through the Buchi i300 Pro interface. Once we have set all of our parameters in here, we hit save and we can go to the next step. So we can save step and it comes back to the start. Continue this for the rest of the steps that you need, and on step 4 we can simply have that as finish. Save step, save method, it comes back to the start. When we go to run, we can either select with touchscreen or we can use our rotary knob to select which one. When we're here, we hit start. You can see that the screen automatically goes black. So from afar, we can see that the pump is running, the distillation has begun. It is a very good indication that your machine is running. When we hit stop, it comes back to white, and we can aerate the system if we need to, or we do have an inbuilt function where we can do that automatically. The next icon on the submenu at the top here is the settings or cog icon. And here we can see maintenance, settings for the system, our service functions by our engineers, or some system information. If we start with maintenance at the top here, we get a very nice new feature from Buchi. This is a leak test, so we can test the tightness of our system. If we select by touching, our current vacuum is set at 1006 millibar or your atmospheric pressure. The leak test has a locked-in set millibar pressure of 50, so we can hit start, and this now activates to extract some air, and then it will run a leak test. Now the V300 pump has a pumping capacity of 1.8 cubic meters per hour. It's a very tight pump, it's very, very good. This will cut out very shortly. Okay, so 30 seconds just to stabilize, then it runs another 30-second leak test where it will measure how much pressure is released over 30 seconds. It does give us a set interval of 5 millibar per minute, so we will see what happens. We've quickly set this system up this morning, so it may pass, it may fail, but this will give us a good indication of how we went. So it's now starting our leak test. Runs for 30 seconds. Now just at the top left here underneath the Buchi symbol is our timer and our countdown. So a couple of seconds left. 2, 1. Okay, so we're measured at 2.2 millibar per minute leak, and our recommended is less than 5. So our system's nice and tight, we can move on. If we go to our settings, we've got a mobile connection QR code. Now this is also a very nice new feature run by Buchi. If we connect into here, it gives us a 2D barcode, which we can scan via a new free app, which is downloadable by the App Store, either on your smartphone. It will run on Android, it will also run on iPhone or smart device. We can scan that, it brings that in. Now that allows us to monitor whereabouts our system is up to. This uploads to the Buchi cloud, so as long as we're connected to our Rotovapor app, we can be out getting a coffee, we can be at lunch, we can be writing our paper, we can be talking to reps who would like to introduce you to the new Buchi systems. But it allows us to monitor whereabouts our distillation is up to. Once our distillation has finished, it will give us a push notification so that we can then go and we can take off our product. We also give a lot of automation functions here. So using the Buchi i300 Pro, we can start and we can stop our rotation once we begin the program using the interface. We can immerse or we can lift the flask once the distillation is start or stopped. We can also put an automatic aeration of the system once the system is finished. So the new Buchi systems have designed everything to be automatic for you or to do your job so you can focus on more important tasks like researching or writing papers. We can scroll through using our turn knob here. Also have an option here to stop heating for the water bath. We can stop the cooling of our chiller. We can play a sound so it gives us an audible notification that the system is finished. We can set our pressure hysteresis. In this case we have 0 millibar. We can record data automatically to our built-in SD card for recording or for data download. We have a key sound we can turn on or off. We can change a lot of system settings such as temperature, what our pressure unit is going to be, millibar, torr, hectopascals. There's a lot of nice functions that Buchi have included here. Finally, Buchi have also put in their solvent library again. They've updated it so it is a lot easier to use. It is very user-friendly. We have 43 built-in common solvents. If there is a solvent in here that is not listed, get in touch with us. We can get in touch with Buchi. We can find out for you what your automatic settings can be. We can do this according to our set chiller temperature. Here it is 10 degrees. And it also, factoring in if we hit save, we can also key in the temperature of our water bath as well. So on a setting of 50 at our water bath and our chiller temperature at 10 degrees, for example, if we're to select acetone, we hit OK, it gives us an approximate distillation pressure of 397 millibar. We can start or we can go back. If we want to edit, we can change that to something of our own if we want to. If we found that we run acetone on our specific volume and it comes in at about 380, we can either change with our rotation or we can change using our touchscreen control here. And we hit save, then we can hit start. Again, it goes to black to show you that we're operating. We hit stop and we can aerate. If we have our own specific solvents that we're running, we can key them in here. By hitting new, we can name it and we can set what that pressure is according to our boiling point of our solvent. There's also a nice feature called Where Parts, which will give us the Buchi codes for our spare parts in our system. Our vacuum seal, which sits in with our condenser, it's a 26mm seal made of Teflon and a rubber compound. Our code here is 048021. This way we can ring up our Buchi representative and say, I would like a replacement of this. This is my code here. We also have a new code for our hose connections, our GL14, which connect to our water tubing, also our vacuum tubing, as well as our swivel nuts, our membranes, and our valve set for our V300 pump. That's our i300 Pro. Thanks for watching.